Alrighty then, it is Seafood Gumbo Sunday. So, I got all my accoutrements ready. I got my smothered okra I had frozen and defrosted, 2 large onions. I'm going to use some of my pickled bell peppers, which I'll rinse off and slice, and some celery. So, onion, celery, bell pepper. There's your Cajun Trinity. For my roux, I'm using 1 cup of vegetable oil and 1 cup of flour. When I start to make that, I'm going to put on a long sleeve shirt because this is a controlled burn. I'm going to use a skillet that has a lid, and because most people who've asked to see a roux video do not want to or don't have a cast iron skillet, I'm going to use it in the largest skillet that I have. I've got myself some of our crab, the body, as well as claw. You can see my bacon grease back there, Southern Girl's friend. So this is 1 pound of body from August the 14th that I food savored and had frozen. And I've got myself 2 pounds of local shrimp. And I'm going to peel these and just put the bodies, I don't have heads, in a little pot of water and just get myself a little bit of shrimp stock. Instead of adding water, I'm going to add that. And I just pour it through a little fine sieve colander. So here are my 2 large onions chopped, about 8 ribs of celery. There's more celery than anything. And then those are my pickled bell peppers that I've rinsed off what I'll call the brine, the vinegar, garlic. Anyway, it's the equivalent of a large bell pepper chopped. Alrighty, I got my shrimp peeled. I chop the big ones in half, okay? Because we're not eating this with a ladle, you know what I mean? We're eating it with a zoop spoon. And I got my little shells to boiling back there for my little bit of quick stock. Instead of adding water, I'm going to strain that and add that to the gumbo. Alrighty then, I'm getting my oil hot on my super burner. I have my long sleeve junky shirt on. You do not want to burn yourself on this. This would be a serious burn. I consider this a controlled burn of oil and flour. So I'm going for not a black roux, but a dark brown roux. And because my tripod is a drinker, I have it masking taped onto 2 Folgers canisters that I keep my rice in after I freeze it. So I'll try to time lapse this for you because I don't have time for it to try and fall over. Once I start stirring this, I cannot stop stirring it or it will burn. Your skillet doesn't have to be ideal, but you are going to be whisking it. Now mine has a little ridge around the side, so I'm going to have to use a wooden spoon to keep that moving. But people want to see not in a cast iron skillet. I would normally do this outside, but it is very windy. It's not cold. It's a beautiful sunshiny day. But with the wind, I don't have a way to secure my tripod well. So let's rock it in here and see if I can get my shrimps to where they're not burling over. You don't have to use that. It'd be better if I had the heads in it. But whatever. Beats adding water. So, I also do not do this unless I have a lidded pot. Because if I catch this on fire, I really don't want to burn my house down. Just not today. It's a nice Sunday. It's not a good thing. So, I'm going to have to turn my fan on as well. So, here we go. I need to get my shrimp in the refrigerator. When I go to put those vegetables in, once I have this roux the color that I want, it's going to be loud. They're going to cook quick, and so that'll be very steamy. So I won't know if it steams you up or not. I ain't going to answer the phone, the doorbell, nothing when I'm making a roux. It's just like canning. I don't want to miss a step, but in this case, I don't want to burn nothing down. It's just not a good thing. So here's our flour. You can hear it sizzle. Alright, now keep it moving. I've got to get the super burner down lower. I also have a simmer on it. You can do this slow, okay, to feel safer about it. It's not a race. But if this pops on you, this is burning hot. So take it very serious. My mother had no problem keeping us out of the kitchen by putting a little sign right at the entry to the kitchen that said no, okay? Nobody needs to be walking around this, making a sandwich around you, nothing. This will seriously burn you. The only vulnerable thing I have is I'm wearing good supportive sandals because I don't know how long this will take. Now notice, if you can, it's getting browner, but I am not going to stop keeping this moving. And I'm going to check because this skillet has a little ridge just to keep it going there. And I'll be able to tell if it's sticking to my spoon. Stir, stir, stir. And like I said, I'll try and time-lapse this for you if it takes a minute. It takes however long it takes. And moments ago, I got a catch in my back for no reason. I thought, oh my God, right before a roux, really? Very hot, and that's why I'm wearing a bandana. You got to get your gangsta cooking on at this point. It's going to get hot. It's radiating off of this skillet, and it's really 4 times that much when you do it on cast iron. In my opinion, it is faster when you use cast iron, but you ain't got to use cast iron. You can also make roux and freeze it. I never do, but you can. So my low super burner's doing fine right now. And the worst thing that happens is you burn your roux. So what do? You throw out, it's just a cup of vegetable oil and a cup of flour, and you start over. Ain't the end of the world. Hey, I like this duct tape in my tripod. Keep it moving, people. Notice how hot this still is. It's still bubbling, but all my flour is broken up. But that does not mean I stop whisking. Okay, this little ledge is not problematic. Watch when I stop stirring how quickly that comes up to a boil. Okay? So don't think, oh, I can run to the restroom. I'm going to go over here and pick some crab. When you're making a roux on top of your stove, the only thing you're doing is making a roux. Anybody catches themselves on fire, they need to get out of this house and take care of themselves, because I am not to be interrupted. This is hot, hot, hot. Don't fail me now, headband, bandana. Keeping it moving. Watch how quick. It's still roiling, rolling, boiling. Ooh, it's hot. Oh, getting some nice color now. That's not even a light brown roux yet. That's just some really incorporated flour and oil. This is that nutty, rich base that goes in your gumbo. Still boiling. That's what I want. The heat's got to be right to keep that going. Now we're getting some nice color. if you can tell with the spoon from what it looked like before. It's only the second time I've made a roux in my new house on my new stove. You get to know your stove, and ours is propane. Let me check my little ridge. It's doing good, nothing's sticking in there, so my whisk can reach that little corner just fine. I'm not seasoning this, it's just flour and oil. Now look how quickly that has changed from when you looked a couple seconds ago. Very, very different. So this is why you can't stop. It's just you and your roux. Ain't nothing else happening. It's all about you. My mother used to wear gloves, like gardening gloves, clean ones, to not get splashed. Because it hurts and it sticks to you. That could have been bad. Anything falls on the floor, leave it there, kick it out the way. You and your roux, people. Oh my God, this is pretty. My little propane stove's rocking it. Now at this point, you shouldn't. Don't go down the hall or anything, okay? Because you can still burn this if you really, really try. So all I'm doing is I want this to get my vegetables tender. So all I gotta do is keep it moving. You can see how hot that is. And I have to leave my fan on, and of course it's right above my camera. Keep your shirt on, your long sleeve shirt. My bandana's working because it is hot right here. Hot. It's not sticking to the bottom, but it is molten lava. You can still mess it up. Almost cooked my vegetables. So then I'll transfer this into my Magnalite pot and start putting everything together. But there is your roux, and it turned out to be a dark brown rich one. Never know what you're gonna get. Give it a whirl. It ain't hard, it's just dangerous. Alrighty, so I got my big pot. I got this turned off, and I'm going to transfer this into that pot. That ain't hard. Alright, my fan's still going because you can see the steam, or you should be able to, coming off of this pot that I just put that hot roux into. So it's going to help get this Magnalite pot really hot quickly. And of course I got the fire on under it. So let's take some of our shrimp business, pour it through this here colander, and get us a little bit of loosened up so we can incorporate this roux some. Oh yeah, keep it moving. you were making a chicken and sausage, you could use chicken broth for your loosener. Okay. So now I'm going to get my okra in here, and I'm going to unmask and tape my camera, my drunk tripod, and show you what it looks like up in there. So this is where I had my tripod masking taped, and here is what we got. So it's nice and loose, scraping the sides. The steam and the heat that's coming off of this is simply from that hot roux that I just put in there. Can you see more of what's coming off the side? So I need to keep it moving. Don't burn it now. You could. Don't be stupid. So I've added my smothered okra. With all this heat in here, it's going to start to break up. I smother okra because it takes forever. If back in the day when I worked and I'd have to spend a Saturday making a gumbo, it was tiring because you'll smother okra for 2 to 4 hours. You got to get all that sliminess off, and you get rid of that by adding vinegar. But you will be stirring all day and not leaving your kitchen because it is worth the effort. But now I make it as I grow it. So it's incorporated here. And I need to taste this. Oh yeah, I'm excited. So, if this helps you see the looseness of it, I didn't have enough of the shrimp shell stock, so I added 2 cups of water. My okra, of course, is already cooked, so I'm going to let this simmer for several hours. I added some cayenne pepper, black pepper, white pepper, and a bunch of Tabasco. And remember, a gumbo is not a 5-alarm Texas chili. Creole cooking, Cajun cooking is a layer of flavors, and they're subtle. You've got that rich, nutty base. Don't make this so hot that people take a couple bites and, their forehead's perspiring. So I'm not going to add the shrimp or the crab. I'm going to let this simmer for several hours. It's a big pot. I'll probably have to put it on my little simmer mat. But again, I don't want it to burn. It's not going to. It's not in that kind of danger anymore, but I don't want it boiling. I just want a low simmer for several hours. So I have it on my little simmer mat, and I'm on low. If you don't trust yourself to over-season, you can use Tony Chasseray, Zatarain's Creole. Just do things like 2 teaspoons at a time. Put two teaspoons in it, stir it around, let it incorporate for about 30 minutes, then try it. You can always add more, but you cannot take away when you've added too much. You can't make that better. And nothing is worse than chopping all those onion, celery, bell pepper, almost burning your house down, working your butt off on a roux, sweating through your bandana, wearing a long sleeve shirt, okay, just to mess it up with too much seasoning. So simmer down on the seasoning, 2 teaspoons at a time of something that's a commercial type, and take it from there. Don't mess it up. It ain't hard unless you do something stupid. So I have my shrimp in here, and now I'm going to add my 1.5 pounds of crab meat. Now this is crab that we caught and that I picked and froze and have defrosted. I've got 1 pound of body and 1/2 pound of claw meat. This is some beautiful stuff. Oh yeah, going in the gumbo pot. So my shrimp and crab are in my gumbo, and now I'm using my little rice cooker because I'm using 3 cups of dry rice. So this is just easier than doing it on the stove. And gumbo freezes very well. Now in the case of my rice cooker, I can never remember, because if you're doing it in real life, it's a cup of rice to 2 cups of water. So I lay me a little index card that says 1.5 cups water to 1 cup rice. Wash the rice first, and I'll leave it in the bottom. I can't mess that up. See, it ain't hard when you make it easier. So here is my beautiful and I mean beautiful gumbo. This color that is here, let me find a spoon without a hole in it. That color is from the roux. That is your base. That's your soup base. That, people, is a beautiful, flavorful thing. So anyway, freezes extremely well. What I do is I freeze it in a Ziploc bag, a gallon bag, lay it flat on a cookie sheet, freeze it. Then I take the zip part off, put it in a food saver bag, and then I freeze it that way after I suck the air out. And it makes a nice little filing thing, like putting a file in a, a paper file, little letterhead. And I lay them sideways in my chest freezer. Can't go wrong. I'll show you when I eat it. Oh yeah, seafood gumbo. Do it. Make it. Eat it. Get you happy on it. So here she is, and this is how we serve it. Just a soup bowl, half of it with rice, and the other half with our gumbo. But is that some wicked looking? So I'm fixing to get my eat on. This is what you call a righteous lunch. Get your seafood gumbo on. Do it. Gator done.